In Bainbridge Island, Washington, I interviewed David Korten, who wrote the bestseller, When Corporations Rule the World, followed by a series of books that helped birth the new economy movement. His most recent book, Change the Story, Change the Future, is one that you really need to know about. And I want David to be the one to tell you because he is so eloquent and so knowledgeable that you're not going to want to miss a word of what he has to say. So David, the floor is yours.
Well, actually, the first point is the foundational idea that we humans live by stories. It's actually integral to how we organize a society. It's the basis of our culture. The stories by which we understand our understanding of the nature of creation, the nature of who we are, where do we come from, what is the purpose of life. This is part of what distinguishes us from other species, this curiosity. Now, the fact that we live by stories gives us the means to organize as communities and as larger societies. But it means that we can also get our stories badly wrong. And when we get our stories wrong, we can be in deep trouble. And right now, as a species, we're in terribly deep trouble. We are destroying the life support systems of the planet that we depend on. We are in a condition of extreme inequality with a very few people who live in unimaginable extravagance, while a majority of the world's people are struggling to get by, many of them on the absolute margins of existence. And we're seeing the corruption of our political system in a way that limits our capacity of our governing institutions to respond to these critical crises. And what I've come to see from my experience increasingly is that it's a consequence of organizing around stories that don't work. What we're organizing around now is a story that I call the sacred money and market story. And in that story, the defining value is money. You know, I forget who mentioned it, but somebody when I was talking about this story said, oh yeah, that's the story that we're essentially money-seeking robots on a dead rock. You know, and that really captures it. The idea that money is wealth, that making money creates wealth, that the people who are making money are the wealth creators, even though we're talking about Wall Street speculators who produce absolutely nothing but chaos. Now, we have fundamentally forgotten that we are living beings on a living earth in a living universe. That we need to learn to live with earth. We have, in our pursuit of money, we've actually created an economy that works in opposition to life, trying to suppress nature, control nature, exploit nature in order to make money. And we've forgotten that money is nothing but a number. It's just a number, you know, our financial assets are nothing but numbers on computer hard drives and some bank account someplace. So we're destroying the life support systems on which our existence depends in order to increase the numbers on some computer hard drive. Which leaves us in the position of a serious question: is there intelligent life on Earth? And I do believe there is intelligent life on Earth, but we may not be it. But the thing that gives me hope is that I see signs that people are awakening to this reality. It's partly because the existing system is so flawed, it has so failed, that the defining story doesn't really have that much credibility anymore. And so people are beginning to re-examine. But to really navigate our way to a different future, We really need to consciously choose a new story. And I do believe that the story of a living earth, we are living beings on a living earth, resides in the human heart. It actually is the story around which indigenous people lived and around which they organize. They actually speak of the original instructions. And it's interesting that science is now discovering that we're happiest, we're most healthy when we have a strong connection to nature, we have a strong connection to community. It's wired right into us. But we forgot it. Now, that's our hope, that if in fact it resides in the human heart, then we don't need to preach, we don't need to convince people. Basically, all we need to do is affirm what they already know and encourage people to bring it out and discuss it explicitly in our public conversation. And every time they hear the money story about GDP growth and wealth creators and market deregulation, the market will take us where we need to go to cure our problems of environmental destruction. They'll bring prosperity to all. So that's nonsense. It does not make logical sense. It does not make moral sense. Bad economics, bad morals. Pope Francis, in one of his recent homilies, spoke of the idolatry of money, the worship of a false god. That literally is what we're doing. As indigenous people tell us, it is earth that's sacred. It's life that's sacred. And that is our hope for the future, to rediscover that basic story and reorganize ourselves around a sacred life and sacred living earth story.